My biggest problem with AU has to do with their stance on interventions. Did you know that the AU forces don't really fight in wars unless attacked? Let me explain how they operate. The AU doesn't wage war like a country would. Instead, it deploys peace support operations, intervention missions, and counter-insurgency efforts, mostly to protect civilians, stabilize fragile states, or fight terrorism. So what happens is AU soldiers go in to provide protection for where civilian settlements are. And if in the process of providing the protection, there comes an attack on the settlement, that's when they defend the civilian settlement, ladies and gentlemen. So they are usually on the weight on the defense. Therefore, the militia groups that control territories in the countries the AU armies are located are not really combated so long as they don't move into civilian settlement. This is why AU soldiers may be in a country for decades and the situation wouldn't change, ladies and gentlemen, because they are brought in as a response army and not necessarily to initiate an offense. However, these militia groups, ladies and gentlemen, their intentions are clear: to take over territories by all means necessary, or by killing, exerting fear and terror on people until the people submits or are kidnapped for ransom, sometimes raped, or have their resources or livelihoods taken away from them and their villages burned. This is their mission. When a group such as these, which have some of the most evil missions you can ever think of, is coming against you, there is no room for negotiations. You don't sit back and wait for an attack before you go on the offense. You take the battle to them with all that you have until every one of them is totally annihilated. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I say the AU needs to first dissolve and be reformed with new priorities so that the countries who will not agree to these new standing orders shouldn't be included. I say this because many of the African presidents are directly in connection with the militia groups and these Islamic jihadist insurgencies. Many of the leadership of these countries are the same people who provide the militias or their groups the intel. Therefore, no matter the effort that is put in, nothing substantial or sustainable comes out. It's either we concentrate on forming regional blocks of 3 and 5 nations, or we restructure AU, because the AU as constructed now is incapable of solving any problem for the long term.